Good afternoon, everybody. I wanted to record another quick comment to everybody just to say hi and to know that we're thinking about you. And it's day three or nearing the end of day three since everything changed in a dramatic way, and it could be that the initial thrill of the changes before us have now that's worn off, and you've run headlong into this thing we're all familiar with called chaos. Chaos is when all the wheels fall off and all of your best laid plans are in naught. And surely what we're all facing right now has overturned everything in more ways than we could ever imagine or hope for. And the schedule that you are accustomed to and the structure that you found a certain strength and stability in, that's just gone. It's You have no more access to it, and you couldn't recreate it if you tried. It's out the window, and so you have returned to a certain kind of chaos in your outer world. And it would not surprise me or anyone else that on the basis of your outer world being torn to shreds, that may have a pretty strong impact on your inner world, on your inner order. And it's in a moment like this, even though there has been no moment like this for most of us on the planet right now, in which you begin to discover just how much of your inner life has come to depend on the stability of your outer life. And while that's not anything to be ashamed of or to be ridiculed for, there is a sense in which when your outer world is the whole structure of your inner world, you've set yourself up for a great deal of turmoil. And it's when you see people who demonstrate that certain unflappableness or really stability that's part of them, or to use a big word, their equanimity across all things, you come to see that a true inner life is one that is not tied so thickly to that outer order, that when chaos befalls your outer world, that your inner world doesn't crumble in accordance or in the same way. The very first verse of the entire Bible, you know it. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And what was that like? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was formless and void, and darkness covered over all things. The initial settings in which God might work whatever he would do had no shape to it. It was empty. It was full of disorder. It's what we might refer to as chaos. And God's first thing he does is to bring form out of formlessness. It is to fill up what is void and to give shape of what is shapeless, to give structure to what is just raw material. And what the point of that kind of story is to tell us this, that God's first act, his first act of bringing form out of formlessness, that's his desire, and that's his proficiency. And therefore, when God brings order out of chaos, he's showing us what he's really good at. That's his thing. That's what he does, and he's done it well. And you and I, in this new moment, in this new sense of circumstances and unpredictability and uncertainties, we are following his lead. We are, many of us, recreating structure and schedule because we're desperate for it. And so in my household, I'll just show you, when it came to realizing that our kids needed a little bit of, shall we say, structure, we had to come up with something like this. And so Mrs. Lafferty came up, devised a lovely little order for the rest of their day. And you might look at that, and surely they looked at that with a certain measure. Oh, are you kidding me? Why? And yet it becomes so necessary for something like that. Oh, hey, wife. Speaking of welcome. Hi, see you.
Hi.
Hi, there she is. We'll go back there.
I don't see myself.
You don't see yourself. Wait a minute, where'd it go? I forgot it. See, this is the this. Oh, it's under this one.
Yeah, you're looking at our schedule.
There's the schedule.
Well, best laid plans. You should have seen today. We tried.
See,
tomorrow will be better.
Chaos. We attempted to bring some certain order out of chaos, and oh wow, didn't plan that. Okay, good. Welcome everybody. Now you're listening. We are, when you make a schedule like that, and many of you are posting your things on Facebook about what you're doing, and when people sort of get the urge to put that structure in place, it makes sense, right? We need that. because in that structure there's a sense of safety and there's predictability and there's security in that, and that contributes greatly to your sense of your inner order. And all of that is good, and all of that is helpful. And Lord knows, on a day like this, when you're actually contemplating for maybe just a few moments about selling your kids on eBay and not even putting a reserve, when it's come to that, and you want to recover some sense of order, all of that is helpful, and it does allow you to recover some of that stability that the other set of circumstances provided for you then. That's all well and good, and yet there is a sense in which it's probably appropriate for us to imagine, how do I order my inner world such that if my outer world crumbles, I don't crumble myself? How does that interior world come to find that new sense of stability and order even when my outer world is full of chaos? Because if you tie your outer world's order to your inner world's order so thickly, well, then you've just set yourself up for all manner of turmoil. That's what my point is on this little brief word to us, is that you and I want to have an inner world that can weather even moments like this that no one could have ever dreamt of. And that kind of inner order means that you have a certain kind of confidence, a kind of consistent confidence in what is true, what is good, what is lasting, what is safe, even when the outer world is offering you all sorts of conflicting stories about what any of those things are. And so my brief point to you is this: when your outer world has entered into chaos again and you want to recover inner world, no matter what happens to the outer world, then you and I go to the one who's really good at bringing order out of chaos. We retrace our steps and seek out the one who's demonstrated a great deal of proficiency in bringing order out of chaos. And the first question out of your mouth is, well, then how do you do that? In some ways, it's really intuitive, and I'm glad that you asked. Thank you for asking. It just so happens we have something available for you this week that's put together even by our newest pastor, Andrew Krahulis, that I'll just show you here. Let's see if I can pull that up without making everything fall apart here. Our weekly email goes out every Wednesday. And the way you enroll for that, register for that, is to go to that web address, and then you can put in your information, and that email will come to you this week, or comes in every week on Wednesdays. And it just so happens that this week's email contains a brief devotional that Andrew Krahulis put together, including in that devotional a lot of resources that you might want to link to hear more about some of the things that are going on both in the church and in the world, but also a series of brief devotional readings for the rest of this week that you would just sort of give yourself to, that you would seek out that sort of inner world by ordering your approach to God by listening and being still and seeing what ideas or fears or frustrations bubble to the surface and letting those become prayers like we talked about yesterday. That's what's available to you this week in the weekly email address, and something for you to get to know Andrew a little better, even though you still haven't had a chance to get to meet him up close and personal. Don't worry, the day is coming, but that's what's happening now. And so just go to that website, enroll in that email address, and then you can see what's coming up this week. You can get more of a description of how to see what happened this week, even as you enroll for what comes up in subsequent weeks. You can see that in the description here on the YouTube channel. We understand that, this world is chaotic is not an exaggeration. It's not an overreaction to describe what everybody's facing. And a lot of you are facing, there's a broad range of experiences even within our body, and there's certainly a broad range of experiences even in Western Carolina, and we're aware of that. And that's why I'm always encouraging, as I did yesterday, let's see if I can pull that back up here, I'm encouraging you to go to our website also, because there's a particular web address that gives you information on how we're responding to the virus. Once again, this week, we're going to have worship online, and you'll be able to go to the website and click on that link and be able to access it. Same bat time, same bat channel this week, 10:45 a.m. On the web address that we'll provide about 30 minutes before that happens. So go to that website to see any updates that are coming this week. And something else that's coming down the hopper that I wanted you to know about that we're just thinking about today. I met with several of our pastors in the Grace Network today, and we did what we've been doing for a while, and that's talking on Zoom and talking about what we're feeling and talking about what we're planning and figuring out how to respond in real time to all sorts of different circumstances that are coming our way. And one idea that came to the fore is that we might just do a pastor's roundtable here, maybe early next week, just talking about things that we think that you're thinking about and things that we're certainly thinking about, and just have an opportunity to see us all kind of talking about some of the similar things at the same time. So we're going to try to do that here soon. That's coming, and you just be on the lookout for that. Last, I'll just say this. Our youth are meeting tonight. Also through Zoom. You should have gotten an email from Greg or from Bree about how to access the Zoom invites for something like that. So that's happening. Again, we're trying to find every creative way we can to keep us connected to one another. And when you go to the website and you look up the COVID response page, there's multiple ways in which you can both seek assistance or sign up to offer assistance where it's possible. And if you just need to talk, or would you like somebody to pray with, there's a way to get in touch with us so that we can do that for you. I do hope that you're connecting with one another. And let me just close out this time by sharing with you something else that was sent to me today that was funny. Hat tip to you, Jim Pierce. Something that happened, I don't even know where it happened, but these two violinists thought they would do something funny. A crisis like this brings out all sorts of things in people, and one upside among all the many downsides that this moment calls for or has brought to the fore is people get creative and take attempts at finding a way to express beauty in moments like that. So you saw the Italian Air Force do their thing yesterday with Pavarotti singing underneath them. Here are two really accomplished violinists that thought that they would go to a local grocery store where there is no toilet paper and stand there and play that song that they played on the Titanic as it was going down. So don't read too much into that. I thought it was really cute, and I thought we would close out our time by letting you listen to that. So we'll talk to you later. Listen to this. We love you, and let us know how can we be of help to you, okay?